In this video, we're going to look at the recovery PACU workflow. So the workflow is essentially a pro forma. It's designed to show you all of the key information you need on your patient, to review their patient chart, to review previous documentation, and you can also complete your own documentation on the patient from this workflow as well. So I have my patient record open just to show you where we are. Menu on the left, we're in the recovery PACU view. So let me just get rid of that for a moment. Okay, so when you open up this view, it opens up onto this workflow tab, and this workflow is made up of these different sections. They're called components, and whatever one is selected displays on the right hand side over here. So we're looking at the problem list, but if we click on documents, it will jump down to that document section, histories, etc., so on, and you can scroll up and down too. You can customize this workflow, so as you begin and as you begin to review your patient and your documentation, you might have different preferences. So you can just click and hold and drag these components around into a different order. You've also got this button on the right hand side too, this little menu. If you click that, you can open up your components, and you can see they're all ticked at the moment, but if you want to remove any, you can just untick them, and that will remove from this menu on the left hand side. So the labs was just removed there, but let me add that back in. And I can see as I tick labs, it adds it back in. It's added it to the top there, so I'll move that down. Okay, so let's work through each different component, starting on the problem list. Now this is what's called structured data. So anything that I add here will add to my patient record too. So if my problem is angina, for example, I can type that into my problem list. It will search. I can pick up that problem, and then it will be added to this workflow. So at the moment, the action is this visit, so this means that it is a problem for this visit. I can make it chronic by ticking this box as well. So now it's a diagnosis and the problem. And just to confirm what I mean about structured data, if I pick up the menu on the left here again and go to my problems and diagnoses, I can see now that the angina is a diagnosis and it's a problem. So let's go back to the workflow. And next is the documents. So here I can see my last 50 notes. I can change this filter by using these buttons at the top. But if I wanted to read a particular note, I can click on it and that will display over here on the right hand side. If I close that down, the anaesthesia records, so these are previous anaesthesia records that have been completed. I can view these too by clicking on them, and that anaesthesia record will display. There's nothing on there at the moment. This is a test patient, so I'll close that down. And I'm just going to work through each section. So the histories, again, it works in a very similar way to the problems. There's different tabs here, which I could view my patient histories. I could also click on the title here, and that will open up my history section on my patient record. So I could add some history from here instead. I could add a past medical or procedure history by clicking on the add button. What's quite nice is I've got this back button here, which will take me back through to the workflow again. Medications and medical devices, I can see what's prescribed in my patient. I can click on it and I can see a bit more information regarding that prescription over here on the right hand side again. Moving down to labs, I can see my last 1 month lab results here. Again, change the filter at the top. Pregnancy overview, there's nothing available to see at the moment, but if there was, you would be able to click and view here. Allergies, again, is structured data, so my patient has no known allergies, but if I wanted to add an allergy in here, I could type in the allergy, and I can find the allergy, and I can complete the details over here. Anything with a red asterisk is mandatory. Just going to continue without saving. So fluid balance, again, works into the same way. It's a view. If the view balance was completed, I would be able to see the information. The same with the lines, tubes and drains. And the recovery departure information here, there's no results found at the moment. But what it takes us on to then is these free text boxes. So this is how you could document your information for your handover. So these in here, this would be a free text if I type in there and click save. The same with the post-op instructions. They are free text information, so I can document what I want to do on my patient, click save, and that will display here in this workflow view. Now the key thing to note here is that this is a draft format at the moment. Anything that's typed in here, only I can see this, so it will only be viewable to you as the user. So when you have completed your handover details and your post-op instructions and you've reviewed your patient, what you need to do next would be to finalize this document, and you do that using this create note section on the left hand side. I could click the recovery PACU handover note here, or I could select another note if I wanted a different title, and this will finalize what I've completed on my workflow. So let me select this handover note, and what it will do is it will pull everything that I've completed into this document. There's also some extra headings in here as well, so if I needed to complete this situation, I can click on the enter button, and again I can type info in here. If I wanted to remove any of these headings because I didn't want them in my handover note, I can click this X to remove, and it will take it away. So we can see here it's added in the problem that was documented within the workflow. It's pulled through the vital signs, and there's some tick boxes and some checklists here. At the bottom, this is the free text information I typed in within the post-op instructions and the handover details, so I can add info in here at this stage because it's still in a draft format. But when the document is completed, if you click sign and submit in the bottom right hand side, it will open up this confirmation screen with the type of note and the title, which you can change if you need to. But then I'm just going to sign that off again in the bottom right hand side. It will take me back to my workflow. You'll notice that the information I typed in previously is gone because that has been pulled into my document. And if I go to my documents list, just needs a refresh. But now my patient has 3 documents and I can see my recovery handover note in here. If I click that, it displays on the right hand side. It will also display in the menu within the clinical documentation section, which is here. And there we go, I can see the handover note in there.